everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media. I want to make this quick video for you guys here. News breaking just this afternoon that I'm just now seeing. As you guys saw the other day, I'm sure a lot of people had their eyes on, well, I don't know, maybe for like the second half. Ole Miss looked like they were coming back. Anyway, you guys were probably watching the Ole Miss game. In that game, first off, shout out to getting the run game back for Alabama just a little bit, as Brian Robinson has 4 touchdowns. Speaking of running backs, a key guy who I guess is running back number 2. Brian Robinson starts, but Jase McClellan is a key guy on this Alabama offense, I think, that has played a key role. You know, Alabama's kind of stuck to what you've kind of seen in recent years. Even with Najee Harris last year, Brian Robinson still got some good playing time, but of course coming back for his senior year. But news breaking, getting to the point here, Jase McClellan is in fact out right now with a knee injury. Apparently it's very significant. This posted just 2 days ago. I'm just now reading from Alex Scarborough of ESPN. He says Alabama's 42-21 win over Ole Miss on Saturday came with a cost, as running back Jase McClellan suffered what's believed to be a significant knee injury. McClellan is tied for second on the team with 5 total touchdowns, 3 receiving, 1 rushing, and 1 returning a blocked punt. And it goes on to say that Alabama coach Nick Saban said the initial outlook is not good. I remember him saying that in the post-game press conference just the other day. So how is this going to hurt the Tide? Well, first off, the defense is great. We saw that. I know there were quite a few people in this community, Chess Hall. I myself, too. I thought Ole Miss was going to beat Alabama. They're not unbeatable. They're not unstoppable. They have some weaknesses. Someone's going to get Alabama this year. I'm telling you that right now. Getting back to the point, though, about Jase McClellan. Heck of a running back. Do they need Jase McClellan? They got Brian Robinson. And they got some good depth, too. When you look at the Alabama roster, they're pretty loaded at the running back position itself. It starts with Robinson. Jase McClellan at least was looking like back number 2. They have a couple guys in, though. They have Austin Owens from Double Springs, Alabama. Trey Sanders, who was a 5-star recruit a couple years ago, sat out his first year due to injury, was playing his second year pretty good, looking great. Then he got hurt, so he's had a couple setbacks and injury. I think he's fully healthy right now, that I'm not mistaken. Roydell Williams comes in. There's a few running backs in there that names are pretty well known that we saw in the spring games, that are talked about. You hear all these reporters. I want to give credit real quick to Touchdown Alabama Magazine and Stephen M. Smith, who covers the Tide greatly. He talks a lot about these different running backs that Alabama has, and Alabama, and I've said this, and I kind of give credit to Georgia, because of recruiting, it's one of those situations where no matter who you lose, right, it might not be as good, because you're always going to start your best players. 9 times out of 10, if the coach is smart, he's putting the best players, if they're healthy and ready to play, he's putting the best guy available for that position. But what if he goes down, right? Like, okay, Georgia just lost JT a couple weeks ago to injury. They haven't lost yet. They've gotten some good wins. They went with Stetson Bennett. I don't know why. I really don't know. I don't know who's quarterback 2 for Georgia after JT, or who should be. Y'all Georgia fans confuse me with this stuff. But like I'm saying, there's these teams, and Alabama's one of them, of course. Because of recruiting, they could lose a guy their season's not done with. They have the talented backs to back up, right? So when you look at it, Jase McClellan, first off, it does start with Brian Robinson. But let's say, okay, they played Mercer a couple weeks ago. It's those teams where you want to rest your starters because you know you're going to be up in the fourth quarter, so rest them, let the backups get some experience and play time, right? Well, Jase McClellan's the key number 2 guy. Well, now he's out. So who do they turn to? Is it Trey Sanders? I think you need to give Trey Sanders a chance. He's been through some adversity with a couple injuries here or there. One of them came actually from a car wreck this past, or maybe off season before last, or maybe it was actually during last season, if I'm not mistaken. But Roydell Williams is a key guy. He's from Hueytown. He's a sophomore. Kamar Wheaton is a highly talked about, at least when he was being recruited, freshman. He is 5'11", 190 in size. So what do you do if you're Alabama? I mean, look, Bryce Young's still going to be throwing the football, right? Obviously, Slade Bolden out there. You got Ajay Hall, Trayshawn Holden, John Mechie. You have Jamison. You have all those receivers. But when you're ready to run the ball, or you're in a position where, if they get, because they got some teams on this schedule here. They have to go to Jordan Hare for an Iron Bowl. Say whatever you want about Auburn. Y'all are not losing Auburn. It's an Iron Bowl at Jordan Hare, and we're going to have a crowd. I mean, it's going to be crazy. That's one of those key game situations in a tough environment against a rival where you're going to need your best players. Jase McClellan's out. Still got Brian Robinson, right? But let's say, who is next? Let's say Brian Robinson gets hurt. I hate to say that because I love watching B-Rob, as we call him, just run up and down the field. He's great. Jase McClellan would have been the number 2 guy, it seems like. Who do you go to? That's the question, really, for this video. Who does Alabama turn to? Do you go to Kamar Wheaton? Trey Sanders? I don't know. It starts with Brian Robinson. He is a senior running back. But then, the other running backs are either, let's see, 1, 2, there's 3 freshmen. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 running backs in total. 3 of them are freshmen, 1 senior, 5 sophomores, right? That's a lot of young talent right there, too. It's literally inexperienced guys outside of Brian Robinson. So the question is, what does Alabama do? Obviously, they're going to stick to Brian Robinson. But who's the next man up, right? Sometimes they like to switch the backs a little bit. Sometimes they like to give other guys a chance. They had a 2-back system a few years ago with Damian Harris and Josh Jacobs. They just, obviously more of a passing offense now, not so much on the RPO. They don't rely on the run game as much, but when it's time to run the ball, they have the backs to do it. Sometimes with a player even like Brian Robinson, because of how good he is because he's your number 1 guy, you want to rest him. So who do they turn to? It really doesn't matter, in my opinion. But Tide fans, if you're watching this, I want to hear from you guys. Jase McClellan, we love you. Roll Tide. We hope you get better. But who is next in line behind Brian Robinson? Who is going to be the next man up, as McClellan is out, for right now at least, with a knee injury that is not good, again, according to Nick Saban. He said he thinks that he's probably going to be out for a while. Only time will tell. Just let him heal up, get rehab. We'd hope to have a guy like that back potentially around maybe late November, going into Atlanta, if Alabama is the team, which is looking like that, to make it to the SEC title to play Georgia. So, but you guys let me know what you think. Again, to Jase McClellan, thoughts and prayers. Hoping he gets better. He's a great back. You never want to see anybody get hurt. You hope for a good recovery. But ultimately, I think Alabama's going to be fine, obviously. That's really one player on the team that's hurt right now. But, it also left me wondering, teams like this, and I mentioned even teams like Georgia or Clemson outside of this year, because of how great they recruit, they could lose an injured player and replace them with someone probably not as good, but good enough to go out on the field and win you the big, important games. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Keep your head up. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content, folks. Again, comment down below what you think about this running back situation with Alabama. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know why I'm making this video. I think we're going to be fine. I just saw the report, had to give my initial thoughts on this. I think Alabama is going to be okay without Jase McClellan. They have the depth, and it's practically Brian Robinson's show right now, at least at the running back position. But I love you guys. Have an awesome week. Jesus loves you. God bless. And as always, folks, roll tide roll. We'll see you later. Ballard Sports Media. Check it out.